the chubby man experienced the awakening of talent for the first time. Holding his phone and demanding everyone call him Dad. Unexpectedly, someone actually shouted in the classroom. It was because he had awakened an S-level talent named Wish Book, where wishes would come true. But from now on, everything belonged to me. In truth, I had awakened the talent of livelihood, robbery. As long as I killed a target, I would be able to use their talent. Previously, I had stumbled upon the realization that I didn't need to rely on talent to kill. I could directly seize the level of talent from my opponent. However, my stubborn brother disagreed with this method, and the price to pay was that he fell victim to someone else's malice. As a result, he was attacked by wild beasts and lost his life, though he sacrificed himself to grant me the chance to survive. It wasn't long before I fell into the same trap he had. When I awoke again, I discovered I had been reborn on the day of awakening my talent. A day when, from that fallen stone, the entire populace entered the era of talent awakening. Those who awaken S-level talents will possess substitute talents. In the currents of this era, those harboring malice will no longer be bound. Therefore, weakness is the greatest source of all. Thus, in this new life, I will turn the wicked into fuel for my fire, striving for the throne of champions. My first target is the director of the company who has bullied me for years, Vong Kai-seo. This man, after awakening, transformed into a demon. He exploited others, forcing them into prostitution and harvesting organs for resources to upgrade himself. Back then, in my rage, I struck him and ended up in detention for 10 days. Because of this, I missed precious time to awaken and upgrade. It wasn't until my brother, who raised me through theft, was released from prison, guiding me with his level 1 talent, that everything began to improve. Thus, I equipped myself with a series of tools from the hardware store. In the restroom, I waited quietly for my awakening to arrive. Soon, my talent for robbery manifested at the appointed time. With the memories of my past life, I believed I could swiftly elevate my talent to its highest level. Before long, I had the opportunity to exact my revenge on Vong Kai-seo. I immediately tightened my grip on the rope in my hand. Without a moment's hesitation, I wrapped the rope around Vong Kai-seo's neck. Though his F-level substitute talent instantly aided his recovery, it could not save him from the brink of death. As the rope tightened, Vong Kai-seo completely lost his breath of life. Once everything was completed, I breathed a sigh of relief. The talent of robbery instantly elevated from level F to level S, immediately. I could hardly wait to summon my substitute talent. Before my eyes appeared a top-tier combat substitute talent, Black Emperor. Strength, agility, and vitality all reached an unimaginable peak. He possesses the ability to annihilate his enemies and steal 1/5 of their elemental power. His only weakness is his utter lack of intellect, requiring the will of his master to control him in battle. After the Black Emperor dealt with the corpse of Vong Kai-seo, I no longer feared being discovered, for even if this matter were to be investigated, it would take at least a month before they could trace it back to me. By that time, I will become invincible. On my way back, I skimmed through the history of our group chat and was taken aback to discover that the foolish fat man had awakened his S-rank talent, Wishing Book. In my previous life, after he awakened, he formed a perfect duo with the beautiful girl from our class, Fuang Mong So. He even resorted to shady tricks to harm many girls, and even joined the crime organization, Laughing Coffin. At this moment, in some hotel, the fat man, feeling unsatisfied with the sensation of being called Dad, wished upon the Wishing Book to gain the entirety of Fuang Mong So's soul and body. Before he could finish speaking, the Wishing Book replied, "Dear Master, your wish has been granted." Upon hearing this, the fat man eagerly dove into the experiment. Watching Fuang Mong So agree to his request without hesitation, he joyfully exclaimed, "The Wishing Book is truly powerful." Meanwhile, I called the fat man. I told him I had a secret about an S-rank talent that I could share. But it had to be said face to face. Perhaps because he had caught the attention of a goddess, he became arrogant and, without hesitation, revealed the address. As soon as we hung up, he smirked wickedly, thinking first to seize the S-rank secret. Then he would go after the goddess. The timing was truly perfect. Not long after, I entered the room. The fat man eagerly asked, "What is Laisji's secret?" I leaned close to his ear and whispered the 4 words, "Jinny is too beautiful." Almost immediately, the talent that replaced the Black Emperor quietly manifested. Before the fat man could react, the Black Emperor's attack was completed, causing him to crash hard into the wall. As I watched the muck then struggled to stay upright, I quickly activated my theft skill. When the Wishing Book transformed into my talent, all attributes and effects surged with the power of the Wishing Book. Then, under my command, a figure appeared before me. My greatness, Wishing Master. I heed your summons. What surprised me was, the wishing master could actually communicate with me. It turned out that the wishing master was a functional substitute talent, theoretically capable of helping the master fulfill any wish. However, the degree of wish fulfillment would depend on its difficulty. Just like winning the lottery, it requires less energy compared to conjuring a bottle of water from thin air. If directed at a person, it would depend on the strength and will of the target. Seeing this, I asked the wishing master, how much energy is needed to release a brother from the inspection bureau? The wishing master replied, this will exhaust all his energy, putting him into a state of tranquility. Therefore, the time for release could only be shortened to the maximum extent. It seemed that wishes needed to be considered with utmost care. At this moment, the most crucial task for the wish master was to extract information from other S-rank powerhouses. While the Black Sovereign was busy dealing with the corpse of the fat man, I suddenly noticed a strange memory clock appearing on his chest. Although the Black Sovereign had no abilities related to time, I still decided to interrogate the wish master about the alternative talent. The answer I received was surprising. It was related to the master himself. With no other clues, I understood that enhancing strength was the top priority. As long as I became powerful, no mystery could escape my grasp. Just as I left the room, Duong Mong Ch Chu stood not far away, spitting out sarcastic words of reproach. Why did I send that damned fat man so many disgusting messages? And now I have to come here to meet him? Meanwhile, in another building, Yu Tai Kiet, who had awakened the Three's talent, was delving into the nature of alternative abilities. Why was the passage time of the 10 Death Kings delayed by a staggering 2.5 weeks? It must be noted that, at that moment, he had expended all of the 10 Death Kings' energy to activate the spacetime continuum. If it were not for encountering the irrational tribes in the space rift, he, a guardian deity of Hua Sha, would have easily passed through. Thinking of this, Yu Tai Kiet slammed his fist down hard on the table in fury. The alternative ability of the Divine Guardian indicated that during the traversal of spacetime, he had been robbed of a portion of his power by an unidentified entity. Amidst the loss of the white clock, he sensed that power was lurking somewhere mysterious. Hearing this, Yu Tai Kiet felt that the one who could steal the power of the 10 Death Kings was surely no ordinary foe. Thus, he resolved to first amass strength, and only then seek out that thief to settle the score. He wanted to know who dared to touch the belongings of Yu Tai Kiet. At this moment, at the entrance to the dungeon, security personnel were warning about the dangers within. Although everyone was agitated, no one dared to take the lead. As for me, without hesitation, I stepped through the teleportation gate. The dungeons that I had previously hesitated to enter, I would now trample upon without a second thought. With the announcement of my body data, I arrived at the moment of choosing between 6 basic professions. In my past life, I had chosen warrior. However, since this profession advanced quite ordinarily, I summoned the Wish Master to ask him which profession would be better. The Wish Master advised me to choose mage, because after 2 centuries, with the SG talent, the Wish Master could promote to the hidden profession, Oracle Mage. Furthermore, the alternative talent of the Black Sovereign could perfectly compensate for the mage's weaknesses in close combat. It turned out that the SG talent also had the capability for hidden class promotion. However, it seems that the Wish Master has some ulterior motives. With this thought in mind, I asked again, if I choose mage, when I change to a second-tier class based on the plunder standard, what hidden class will I become? The Wish Master pondered for a moment and replied, you can only transform into a mediocre close combat mage. Although his advice held value, my talent lies in plunder. Everything must still rely on the Dark Monarch. Both attributes of the Dark Monarch had reached their maximum levels, so choosing agility as my primary class would be a more sensible decision. Thus, I did not hesitate to ask further. If I choose assassin, what class will I become? The Wish Master looked a bit surprised. There's a strong possibility you will still be an outlaw, maximizing your plunder capabilities. However, I still advise you to choose seer mage. Hearing this, I had already made my decision in my heart. I'm sorry, I choose assassin. The attributes of the armor would be infused into the assassin's body, simultaneously generating 5 skills: shadow assassin, speed illusion, quick reaction, powerful strike, along with a new short weapon. Indeed, the combination of assassin and Dark Monarch was a perfect match. After completing the class change, the system immediately notified me of the difficulty selection for the dungeon. Without hesitation, I chose Nightmare Assault. As I was transported into the dungeon space, countless goblins with glowing red eyes appeared before me. Instantly, I raised my hand to summon the Dark Monarch. With the skill, Omni-War Will, under my command, the Dark Monarch began to accumulate power. In just a moment, he unleashed an overwhelming force, attacking all the surrounding goblins indiscriminately. In a heartbeat, I had destroyed 15 goblins. My level immediately rose to 6, thanks to the assassin's weapon enhancing my agility. After the second tier class change, agility could also be transformed into offensive power. Thus, I allocated my free points into agility. Under the overwhelming strength of the Dark Monarch, I advanced toward the final boss, the Goblin King. In that room, although the number of goblins was vast, they were still too weak compared to the Dark Monarch. Quickly, a large goblin charged at me. Recalling the scene of the human NPCs being bullied, a surge of rage welled up within me. Crush them. Seeing the large goblin being pushed back, the Goblin Mage immediately unleashed a spell. With the agility and protection from the Dark Monarch, these attacks could not reach me. Accompanied by a powerful explosion, the Dark Monarch's fists appeared like a nightmare. The two Goblin Mages immediately faced the consequences. After taking care of the weaklings, it was time to confront the Goblin King. Initially, I thought the Goblin King would have some strength, but with just one blow from the Dark Monarch, he flew into the air. Witnessing that scene, I couldn't help but smile. So weak, his death propelled me to level 9. With the aid of luck, my fortune had now increased tenfold. Moreover, I received a premium gold treasure chest. Undeniably, this was truly absurd. Even upon completing the lowest tier of the Nightmare Dungeon, the highest reward was merely a black chest. However, the reward would be determined by the time lost in battle. The base points would either double or diminish depending on the number of players and their levels. As I prepared to open this chest to discover its contents, a black level recovery potion lay before my eyes. Among a heap of mundane gear, the silver tier items felt too weak, utterly useless. But then, to my astonishment, 2 pieces of gold tier equipment appeared. I immediately opened the attributes of the Guardian, and I could hardly believe my eyes when I saw its attack power soaring to 60. Furthermore, it inflicted a bleeding effect lasting 10 seconds. Truly, it was a divine weapon for the early stages. The light armor of the Guardian also helped mitigate damage from weapons. This was indeed a rare treasure in this world. Just at that moment, the system notification prompted me to name my character in the game. Without hesitation, I exclaimed, "Black Emperor." Instantly, a notification board appeared before everyone's eyes. Congratulations to the player Black Emperor for being the first globally to surpass the Nightmare Dungeon. The reward is a 10-time Destiny Wheel token. All this left White-Kiet stunned. He recalled that in his previous life, the global announcement only appeared at midnight. That player was named Xiao Bai. White-Kiet quickly asked Shi Yi Wang, "Are you sure that time travel won't alter history?" After receiving an affirmative response, White-Kiet fell into deep contemplation. Had Black Emperor seized the power of Shi Yi Wang and surpassed the dungeon? Or had the Black Emperor from the future returned here after acquiring that power? Shi Yi Wang was equally perplexed. After all, his own power could not elevate his strength. Upon hearing this, White-Kiet's expression grew serious. He was determined to swiftly find that person. Meanwhile, I remained lost in the joy of possessing the precious Destiny Wheel token. "Come now, Master of the Kiveen. It is time for you to showcase your talents." At that moment, the Kiveen Chu appeared, cheerfully saying, "I am honored to serve you. Great Master, please allow me to assist you in analyzing how best to wish." The former master wished for, the Wheel of Destiny may randomly draw items ranging from Tier S to Tier 3s, including many items unattainable in dungeons. However, the chance of receiving a high-tier item is exceedingly low. Even if the master had 10 spins with tenfold luck, securing an S-tier item was not guaranteed. Hearing this, I suggested, "What if you used your power to make a wish?" The Kiveen Chu revealed that acquiring a specific 3s item would cause him to fall into a deep sleep for 6 months. Meanwhile, an S-tier item would cost between 10 to 100 energy points. Considering that a prolonged slumber would hinder the acquisition of others' powers, I decided to wish for an item of Tier SG or higher. A shimmering golden light radiated forth. "Master, your wish has been granted." As the final words escaped my lips, the Wheel of Fate began to spin. When the needle finally halted, tangible treasures materialized before my eyes. To my astonishment, there lay a crystal of binding that enhanced the puppet's range of movement, alongside a crystal of limits that amplified its energy capacity. With the crystal of frenzy in my grasp, the puppet surged with a momentary burst of power. Alas, the crystal of limits was of double S grade. Contemplating this, I tossed the 2 binding crystals to the Black Emperor. With a sharp crack, the Black Emperor's range of movement expanded significantly. Subsequently, I resolved to shatter the 2 genuine crystals, capable of inheriting a total of 4% of personal attributes from the replica. The life crystal could be utilized immediately, while the crystal of frenzy and the longevity crystal could be kept close. I pulled out the life crystal and pondered, who among us is worthy of receiving this gift? Great Master, I truly suggest that you allow me to use it first, this way I shall no longer worry about energy. As I tossed the item to him, the Master of Mysteries did not hesitate to praise. The Master has indeed made a remarkably wise decision. As the energy of the Master of Mysteries surged, his recovery speed doubled rapidly. However, the quantity of genuine crystals remained painfully scarce, with only 4% of attributes to harness. Furthermore, lacking any space crystals, all gear on my person was impossible to carry. It was no easy feat, I could only advance step by step. At this moment, the strength of others was feeble. This was my golden opportunity to swiftly progress. Thus, my next target would be the Heavenly Tower, where I would claim the first title globally. Upon arrival, I overheard the bustling discussions. The current leader had reached the 8th floor. Every time one surpasses 10 floors of the Heavenly Tower, a dialing card is awarded. Suddenly, a girl approached and asked, "Hey there, do you want to join a team?" Without sparing her a glance, I continued on. Women merely slowed my sword drawing speed. As I stepped into the first floor of the Heavenly Tower, thugs emerged before me, yet, with mere strikes as swift as the wind from the Black Emperor. I completed the first floor in just 20 seconds. Instantly, everyone outside the tower gasped in astonishment, keeping an eye on the global announcements. For the player, the Black Emperor was shattering records at a breathtaking pace, and I stood at the threshold of the 10th floor. The first to conquer the 10th floor in my previous life was none other than Chi Jojo. But now, I was here. The achievements of the 10th and 20th floors would belong to no one else. The lord of the 10th floor was the ruffian Irvin. Despite his frenzied slashes combined with a powerful blade, in terms of strength, the Black Emperor needed no assassins. With a simple chain of triggers, Irvin instantly found himself in a state of critical blood loss. His attack speed and power surged dramatically. In the blink of an eye, the Black Emperor materialized behind him, delivering a powerful punch that struck Irvin's head. As the lord of the 10th floor fell, a global announcement echoed. Congratulations to player Black Emperor for being the first in the world to conquer the 10th floor of the Celestial Tower solo. The reward is a 10-time Destiny dial ticket. In an instant, this global announcement ignited an unexpected chain reaction. On the mysterious stone tablet, words suddenly appeared. When the first level 20 player of Blue Star emerged, a rodent catastrophe would shake the very fabric of reality across the world. A serious researcher spoke to her colleague. We need to uncover the identity of the player known as Black Emperor. As for me, I silently awaited the wheel of fate to come to a halt. When the needle finally stilled, a tangible treasure shimmered before my eyes. From one surprise to another, I discovered an S-rank spatial crystal. At last, I could bring this precious artifact into the real world. I immediately resolved to use this crystal. I increased the personal attribute value of the replica by 7%. As for the mana crystals that enhanced power and defense, along with 2 life crystals, I entrusted them to someone known as Golden Black Pen. Once completed, I opened my inventory and gazed at the pile of unnecessary gear. Without hesitation, I decided to dispose of them first. Then, I advanced to the next replica floor. The combination of in-game currency and real money was indeed feasible. I priced the bronze coins at 6 coins each, 2 pieces of silver gear, and rare weapons, along with their corresponding high-level spells, were valued at 2.300, 2.100, and 4.000 gold respectively. Unexpectedly, just as I finished listing the items, the system sent a notification. You have successfully sold the item. It was hard to believe. This amounted to 5 million real gold. In that moment, a deep sense of self-reproach washed over me. I had been too complacent. I should have sold each item individually. It seemed I had underestimated the wealth of people across the globe. But, reflecting back, the ease with which I earned gear shouldn't be too concerning. Next, I would focus all my efforts on climbing the tower to level 20. Along with the job transfer quest. It might take a whole night. By then, the cooldown for my innate ability would end, and I would have the chance to seize an SG level item. In my memories, after the chaotic period, the 3 most renowned guilds were the Smile, Nasalek's Coffin, and Baki's Grave, though those members were all masters who had awakened SG level talents. As long as I could eliminate them, I would gain entry into the curse of wicked crimes, to reclaim the debt owed by those who caused my death and that of my brother. Not long after, I found myself on the 11th floor of the Celestial Tower. As I beheld the skeletal soldiers before me, memories of the days spent fighting alongside my brother to farm the skeletons flooded back. The vision of battles that stretched across days and nights crystallized in my mind. With this thought, I commanded an attack, leaving no one unscathed. In the blink of an eye, the horde of skeletal soldiers was shattered by the might of the Black Emperor. To my surprise, a level 17 skeletal commander suddenly appeared behind me, seemingly eyeing me as a delectable prey. Drawing from the combat experience I had accumulated in my past life, these low-level monsters posed no threat to me. As the skeletal commander fell, I smoothly passed through the 11th floor, with the Black Emperor leading the charge. I finally set foot on the 20th floor of the Celestial Tower. The skeletal Lord Timir roared, "Awaken, my servants, rise from the depths of hell to fight for me." Instantly, at least 200 skeletal soldiers crawled up from the ground. Faced with the overwhelming strength of the skeletal army, I felt not fear, but a thrilling exhilaration surging within me. The Black Emperor confronted the skeletal lord directly, while I was surrounded by the skeletal soldiers. Although victory seemed within reach, I knew I might sustain injuries. With this in mind, I did not hesitate to shout, "Strike with all your might, my lord." I wish for each attack of the Black Emperor to be a fatal blow, until the skeletal Lord Timir is completely annihilated. At that moment, the wish book ignited with a fiery glow. "Great Master, your wish has been granted." I could scarcely believe my ears. Who would have thought that a wish could be so powerful? Immediately, the Black Emperor erupted with unimaginable strength. "Fight with all your might." Black Emperor, my master can take care of himself. While the skeletal lord still reeled from shock, the Black Emperor charged like a tempest. Shadows of darkness lunged straight at Timir's body without hesitation. This was a decisive attack with 100% damage. Timir instantly lost all his health. Witnessing this scene, I couldn't help but smile. This was truly a masterful way to wield a wish. As the news of the skeletal Lord Timir's demise echoed, my level rose in tandem, reaching the milestone of 14. The global announcement of the player Black Emperor surpassing the 20th floor rang out, leaving other players in awe. But I had no intention of stopping. I guided the Black Emperor straight to the 29th floor, preparing to open the door to the 30th when the system announced that my level was too low. "I recommend you return another time." But I replied with unwavering confidence, "I suggest you not worry too much." As for the level 30 Golden Bull Emperor, his active skill was named Supreme Conquest, and finally had the chance to showcase its might as I watched his enormous hammer crash down upon the earth. "Foolish human, level 15, do you even comprehend what awaits you?" Upon hearing this, I didn't hesitate to retort, "Isn't your palace merely a colossal trap?" As Noto Lothos grasped the disparity, I raised my hand. The Black Emperor bellowed once more at Noto Lothos, as if issuing a formidable challenge. He unleashed the skill, Frenzy. Drawing from the experiences of my past life, I was well aware that levels 21 to 29 of the labyrinth were no trifling matter. For the monsters yet to be vanquished would be summoned by the king to aid him. In my memories, countless players had perished within the traps set by Noto Lothos. Yet for me, this was merely a minor trial. The master of the mysterious pavilion continued to pursue his wishes. The attacks from the Black Emperor were always lethal. With the support of these wishes, each blow from the Black Emperor drained 450 of his life points. I could see my own life force dwindling. Noto Lothos activated the skill, Royal Command, summoning warriors to shield him. This was the moment I had long awaited. Therefore, I raised my hand to activate the skill, Strength Theft. Instantly, 30% of Noto Lothos's life points, attack power, and skill strength were seized. Notorious, stripped of all power, was swiftly trampled beneath my feet. Upon successfully vanquishing him, my level soared to 18. Just then, a horde of minor monsters surged in through the door, and I could not contain myself as I raised my hand. Let me test my strength against them. How powerful is the skill, command of the king? My warriors instantly obeyed, kneeling down, the sound of weapons clattering to the ground resonating like a symphony. The monsters present also bowed before me, chanting in unison, "Hail the great king." Witnessing this scene, I wasted no time in commanding the Black Emperor to annihilate them. The Black Emperor, empowered by Notorious, charged into battle. Notorious's skill, Imperial Ruin, unleashed a storm of swirling dust, leaving me in a state of euphoric bliss. The experience gained surged through me like a powerful wave, propelling me directly to level 22. Shortly thereafter, the global announcement echoed, "Congratulations to player Black Emperor. The first in the world to solo conquer level 30 of the Celestial Tower." Amidst the bustling discussions regarding the identity of the Black Emperor, I gradually stepped out from the crowd. Next came the second-tier class transfer quest. The following day, as I was preparing to replenish energy for the Tomato Noodle Manager, gearing up for the Assassin class transfer quest, suddenly, a resounding slap caught my attention. It turned out to be my former colleagues. At that moment, Tan Tiu Mai was kneeling on the ground, pleading for forgiveness. Trong V immediately kicked him, saying, "What good is an apology? Tiu Kiet has died because of you." With that, he found a spot to sit down. Appearing utterly indifferent, he coldly said, "Bring that useless priest to me." Tang Xiao Mei, after another kick, grimaced, "Did you not treat me this way when there was a manager before?" But his question was met with a mocking laugh. "You think you're the manager's woman, don't you?" The manager had long since disappeared. Hearing this, a sardonic smile crept onto my lips. "The manager lives on only in your hearts." It turned out that in my previous life, these people had banded together to form factions, always serving as the lackeys of manager Wang Jichao. Not only did they often oppress me within the company, but they also secretly mocked me as the child raised by a thief. Once, they were like brothers, but in this chaotic age, even the best of relationships could change for selfish gains. Before long, Tang Xiao Mei had no choice but to reluctantly treat Zhang Wei. As the group fretted over the absence of a member in their ranks, Zhang Wei suddenly realized something, approached me, placed a plate of food on the table, and said, "Old colleague, it's been so long since we last met, I've missed you. Have some delicious food, don't live in misery like this." Before I could respond, he asked again, "What abilities have you awakened? I'll take you to make big money, otherwise, how can you be worthy of when you see, in my memories?" In my previous life, I was imprisoned for 10 days for fighting with Wang Jichao. After getting out, Zhang Wei contacted me and asked a similar question. At that time, I couldn't fathom the malice of people. I openly revealed my newly awakened ability to steal. Immediately, I became the laughingstock of some at the party. Thinking of this, I stood up, preparing to leave. "Sorry, I don't want to join the team." Upon hearing this, Zhang Wei burst into loud laughter. "You're just a lowly wretch. You dare dream of becoming a master like the Black Emperor just by soloing dungeons?" But suddenly, from behind, Qin Xiao Mei called me back, clinging tightly to my leg and pleading, "Luo Ge, please save me, will you? As long as you take me along, I will do anything." But without a second thought, I withdrew my hand. "You've mistaken the person. I can't help you." Seeing this, Zhang Wei angrily grabbed Qin Xiao Mei by the hair, threateningly saying, "Can you stick to anyone? Don't you think he has the strength to save you? He and his brother are just a couple of thieves protected by Wen Yu Si. His ability is surely not even half of mine." At these words, my gaze instantly turned cold. "I advise you not to mention those 3 words." But Zhang Wei disregarded my warning and leaned in close to my ear. He slowly opened his mouth. "Which 3 words are you talking about? Is it Liang Xiao Shu or Wen Yu Si?" After saying this, he signaled for the others to attack, wanting me to feel the transformation of the age. The other 2 immediately prepared to strike. As his fist was about to strike me, I merely exerted a slight force, sending the 2 men sprawling away. At this moment, I grasped the true essence of the changing times far better than they could. Seeing their comrades fall to the ground, Zhang Wei cursed, "2 useless fools, and you couldn't even defeat him." With that, he drew a dagger from his pocket. Without a moment's hesitation, they charged at me. While evading their attacks, I kicked Zhang Wei with 1 foot, the sheer force propelling him far away. After the deed was done, I dusted myself off. "How dare weaklings like you lay a hand on me?" The remaining 2 exchanged glances, filled with uncertainty. They immediately knelt on the ground, pleading for my mercy. At that very moment, a pair of eyes from above were observing everything. The power I had just displayed had captured his attention. It turned out that this man was none other than Bai Hongli, one of the 8 great leaders of the Ba Chi Society. Just as I was about to leave the noodle shop, Qin Xiao Mei looked at me with wild eyes, secretly thinking, "This is the powerful one I have always dreamed of." Instantly, she grasped my shirt, not only apologizing for her previous actions but also bringing my hand to her cheek. "This is Bak Hong Liat, one of the 8 great leaders of the Bat Ki Hoi." At this moment, as I was preparing to leave the noodle shop, Qin Tiu Mai looked at me with wild eyes, thinking to herself, "This is the powerful person I have always dreamed of." Instantly, she grasped my shirt tightly, not only apologizing for what she had caused before but also bringing my hand to her cheek. She vowed to compensate 100-fold, 1,000-fold. However, I remained unmoved, calmly saying, "Please have some self-respect." Having said that, I withdrew my hand, seeing my back as I left. The noodle shop suddenly filled with a sense of resentment. "You, Lin Lack, don't think that you have surpassed us and can consider yourself great. I am still the one who sets conditions with you." At this moment, the two behind seemed to be watching a thrilling play. "Lack Deep already has Van Nu too. I advise you to give up." Upon hearing this, Chin Tiu Mai shouted, "I am not inferior to Van Nu too," but the two others showed her no respect whatsoever. "You are not worthy of helping Van Nu too." But just as those words were spoken, a thunderous slap from Chin Tiu Mai silenced everything, of course. Bok Hong Liat witnessed the entire event. He found this girl quite interesting and decided to recruit her into the Bat Ki Hoi while secretly probing about me. If he could grasp my weakness, he would have complete control. After taking down the two, Tiu Mai left a challenge, "Lin Lack, sooner or later I will crush you." Just then, a mysterious man appeared from behind, asking her if she wanted to join the Bat Ki Hoi. Without hesitation, Chin Tiu Mai nodded in agreement. As she signed the contract, she secretly mocked that this was the line between a pauper and an aristocratic society. After the business was done, the man inquired about the relationship between me and him. And immediately, Chin Tiu Mai's performance began. She asserted that he was a deceiver of emotions. Seeing this, the man asked more about his weaknesses. "We are like a family now. This society will help you take revenge." Chin Tiu Mai did not hesitate, pretended to think for a moment, then accidentally blurted out Van Nu Tu's name. I was completely unaware of it, merely on my path to undertake a job transition. Although I had sensed the stalker for some time, to uncover his purpose, I stepped into an alley and suddenly turned around. I wanted to know who dared to be so reckless. As I casually brushed past him, I realized that I had no impression of this man at all. He seemed anxious, ready to retreat quickly, but then I heard a loud bang as the strike from the Black Sovereign ended him instantly. He slammed against the wall, prompting me to demand to know who had sent him. Yet his answer was merely that he was an ordinary passerby. Fortunately, I recognized from his earrings that he was a counselor of the Eight Banners Society. From my memories of a past life, the emergence of the Eight Banners Society could not have been so soon. With this thought, I pressed him further about his true intentions. But his responses remained unchanged, with the notorious reputation of the Eight Banners Society in the shadows. Prolonging this was merely a waste of time. I summoned the master of the Key Pavilion, Wan Nguyen, demanding an explanation for the surveillance against me. From his lips, I learned everything. He had been sent under the orders of the guild leader, Bok Hong Liat, in a noodle shop. A female gamer had joined the guild and had disclosed information about me, while simultaneously requesting an investigation into a woman named Van Nu Tu. The guild leader intended to use this woman as a pawn to force me into becoming his prey. Upon hearing this, everything clicked into place for me. However, Tan Tiu Mai was so cruel, using this approach to take revenge on me. 3 years after the calamity in my past life, Bok Hong Liat had taken the life of Sister Van. At that time, driven by vengeance, I had recklessly elevated my abilities, only to meet my end in the jaws of a beast. It seemed I must eliminate Bok Hong Liat before seeking out Sister Van in the Eight Banners Society. After arranging for the Black Sovereign to dispose of the enemy's body, I questioned the master of the Key Pavilion about how long the Eight Banners Society could protect Van Nu Tu if I made a wish. The master replied that with his current power, he could only ensure her safety for 24 hours. Hearing this, I fell into a moment of contemplation. I needed to complete my job transition first, to confidently take down Bok Hong Liat, and 24 hours was sufficient. Thus the master helped me fulfill my wish to protect On Vu Tu. Subsequently, I entered the second job transition secret realm. Before long, I arrived at the distinctive territory of the Assassin Alliance, where the job transition instructor, Miles, awaited me. From him, I understood the mission's requirements, to collect 30 snowman horns and 1 crown of the Penguin King. The intensity of this secret realm was far greater than that of the warrior's job transition. In that moment, a lifelong dream suddenly materialized behind me. A colossal black snowman. As I saw its fist charging towards me, I quickly summoned Den Hoang to block the blow. To my surprise, the monsters in the secret realm had mastered the art of stealth. As Den Hoang defeated the black snowman, the crafting material, snowman bun, immediately appeared. Just as I was about to collect it, the ground began to tremble. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of black snowmen surrounded us. They quickly transformed into a blinding white. Realizing the urgency, I drew my dagger for self-defense. The true battle was only beginning. though their attacks were fierce. Their weakness lay in their sluggishness. As long as Den Hoang and I coordinated our strikes, we could easily defeat them. After severing the head of one snowman, I dashed towards Den Hoang, asking him to lift me into the air. With Den Hoang's seamless cooperation, I wore a confident smile and unleashed the skill, Destruction of the Emperor, from the Golden Bull Kingdom. Instantly, I turned and shouted to Den Hoang. While they're stunned, crush them. Den Hoang decisively activated the skill, Frenzied Dance, piercing through the bodies of hundreds of snowmen in an instant. After clearing away a wave of snowmen, I had gathered all the necessary materials for the mission. Yet, the snowmen continued to emerge without end. It felt as if they were inexhaustible. Meanwhile, somewhere far away, the Penguin King leisurely sipped a glass of wine. Fools! Watch as I tire you out. Return, souls of the black snowmen. At that moment, from the corpse of the snowman before me, a mysterious object suddenly appeared. All of them directed deep into the mountains. Before long, the Penguin King had gathered a colossal energy sphere. Rise again, black snowmen, my warriors. Immediately, a dazzling beam of light shot down from above, forming a gaping hole in the ground. Initially, I felt skeptical about this power, until I witnessed the black snowmen resurrecting within that abyss, and everything clicked into place. The source was the ice sculpture atop the mountain. Realizing this, I swiftly maneuvered past the black snowmen. As Den Hoang lifted me high, I immediately urged him to throw me to the mountain peak. For Den Hoang, this was no challenge at all. Sensing the urgency of the situation, the Penguin King activated the skill, King's Rescue, summoning the black snowmen for reinforcements. But I would not grant him a chance to escape. Without hesitation, I used Phantom Slash, cleaving him in two, seeing the sharp mining material of the Penguin King in my grasp. A satisfied smile spread across my face. The other snowmen began to melt away, proving the words of Tan Tak Tien Tan Vong true. The mission was complete, and I presented the gathered materials to my mentor. Miles asked me if I wanted to switch to a conventional profession or a hidden one. Without a moment's hesitation, I chose the hidden path, for I had come here with that very purpose. Suddenly, his expression changed, reminding me that if I failed to change professions, I would lose my chance of survival. Hearing this, I remained resolute in my choice, for high risks often accompany great rewards. In my past life, if others could switch to a hidden profession, then I, Lak Kim Sin, would not be any less capable. Miles burst into laughter, affirming my courage, and stated that it was too late for regrets now. There was no turning back. Thus, I was thrust into the void of profession transitioning. From Miles, I learned that within were hidden professions with offensive capabilities, which players could choose freely. But upon returning, I found this place to be utterly empty. Just then, I inadvertently bumped into something. In the next moment, a blinding beam of red light suddenly appeared before me. Then, two more beams of light emerged around me. I placed my hand upon the red light, revealing the profession, Outsider Mage, that the God of Wishes had introduced. The shimmering blue light represented the profession, Shadowless Assassin. Not only in attributes, but its specialization far exceeded that of the Outsider Mage. It seemed the colors of the beams symbolized the quality of the professions. With the golden light radiating brilliance, undoubtedly the highest peak, as my hand touched the golden light, the profession, Legendary Storm Swordsman, materialized before my eyes. This sight left me agape, for this profession was rarer than a shooting star. In all my past life, I had never even heard of it. If I were to switch to the Legendary Storm Swordsman, wouldn't the three evil organizations be easily obliterated? Yet, there remained a problem to resolve. God of Wishes, show yourself now. Under my inquiry, the God of Wishes explained clearly. It turned out he had analyzed beforehand that the success rate of switching to the Legendary Storm Swordsman was a mere 0.5%. Though Shadowless Assassin was much higher. It still only stood at 9%. Meanwhile, the success rate for switching to Outsider Mage soared to 98%, making it the safest choice. This revelation made me no longer wish to curse him, but I still conveyed to the God of Wishes that in the future, he should simply inform me of the power, without needing to guide me in making decisions. Once I encountered the choice, I knew I had to select the path with the highest profit. Without a moment's hesitation, I strode toward the cluster of light that represented the Stormblade legend. Before embarking on this career change, I asked the God of Wishes, with a mere 1% compatibility rate, if I succeed in this transition, will I be able to harness 100% of the power of the Stormblade legend? The God of Wishes appeared anxious, for failure in this transition could mean a mental exhaustion lasting 20 days. Or worse, death in the transition space. Indeed, a 20-day mental exhaustion was hardly different from death itself. Not only would I be left behind by others, but I also could not rescue Anba within 24 hours. Yet, the God of Wishes, while calculating the success rate, overlooked its own involvement. Thus, I prayed fervently for this career change to succeed 100%. Upon hearing my plea, the God of Wishes was filled with joy. Then, with a wave of its hand, it proclaimed, "Great One, your wish has been granted." As the career transition commenced, Miles in the real world sensed something unusual. Even those with a 3's aptitude might not successfully transition into an ancient legendary class. He truly dared to make such a choice. At that moment, I was in the midst of the transition, the essence of the Stormblade legend, resonating from the depths of the ocean. Simultaneously, a voice echoed, "To inherit the ancient legacy of the Stormblade legend, you must comprehend 3 truths: storm, death, and blade. No matter how far you wander, do not forget your original intent, remain loyal to the wind, and equally to the blade." As my sword was drawn, with a single slash, I sent all surrounding monsters flying. Then, the voice resounded again, "Only when you face death directly can you overcome all obstacles." It seemed I was destined to become the lone storm swordsman in the realm of assassins. One who understood death like the wind, always silently lurking nearby. Due to the immense energy expenditure, the God of Wishes could no longer maintain its form and exclaimed, "Master, my energy is depleted. I am about to fall into slumber. The remainder now rests upon you." Time slipped away unnoticed, and I collapsed onto the transition table, my physical body in reality following suit. Before long, a global announcement blared: the first player to transition to a second-tier class in the world has emerged. Faced with this situation, Miles couldn't help but feel a pang of regret, realizing that the boy before him was now being surpassed by others. Perhaps this was the price of arrogance. But suddenly, I slowly opened my eyes. Enduring the pain and forcing a smile, Miles stared in astonishment. Could it be that this kid has succeeded in his career change? The cigarette in my hand unintentionally fell to the ground. As I drank a bottle of high-grade stamina recovery medicine, the fatigue immediately vanished like morning mist. Dales could no longer contain himself. He was eager to know how I had succeeded. But my answer was, "Master, you don't need to force it." While he was extinguishing the flames at his feet, I immediately dashed outside. I needed to quickly eliminate Bok Hong Liat and then find a way to awaken the God of Wishes. Fortunately, only 5 hours had passed since I began my job change. So, I still had 19 hours left to find Bok Hong Liat. When I looked at the screen, I noticed a message from Tan Tiu Mai asking to meet me. Instantly, I realized this was the scheme of the Bat Ki Hoi. If that is the case, then the time and place shall be determined by me. While Tan Tiu Mai was discussing with Bok Hong Liat, the ringing of a phone cut through their sweet moment. Upon learning that the time and place had been set for tonight, even though Tan Tiu Mai wished to continue, Bok Hong Liat insisted she prepare to leave quickly. Tan Tiu Mai gritted her teeth in anger, for the first player had appeared, and on the mysterious stone tablet, a warning emerged that a Sichuan disaster would occur within 24 hours. This signifies that a great catastrophe is about to strike. Not long after, I received a notification from Wakin, from 8 p.m. tomorrow. All forms of transportation are prohibited. In my memory, the first Sichuan disaster in my previous life was a heavy nightmare. Although this calamity opens opportunities for the awakened, for ordinary people, it spells death. Those who once protected me, I cannot allow them to suffer again. But in this life, I finally possess the power to safeguard them. Recalling the images of my childhood bullying, Antai was always the one to stand up for me. Whether it be before graduation or after starting my career, her silhouette has always lingered in my mind. And when Antai needed me the most, I was unable to be by her side. Therefore, tonight, Bok Hong Liat must surely die here. At this moment, Bok Hong Liat is on his way to the rendezvous, with a desperate desire for me to carry out his mission. It turns out that Bat Ki Hoi has just issued an order, requiring him to gather a large number of life crystals within a month. Thus, Bok Hong Liat asked Tan Tiu Mai to keep an eye on Mantu. As long as he holds this weakness, he will confidently ask me to carry out this task for him. Soon after, Tan Tiu Mai arrived at the meeting place. Brimming with confidence, she deftly tucked her hair back and approached me with joy. Before she could get close, she leapt up excitedly, but to her surprise, she slipped and fell into the void. At that moment, just as Tan Tiu Mai was about to complain, I spoke up to inquire about Bok Hong Liat's whereabouts. Tan Tiu Mai was taken aback when I mentioned the name of the leader. A look of skepticism crossed her face. Yet she still pretended to know nothing. Perhaps it was the pressure from me that led her to this. Eventually, Tan Tiu might confess to joining the Bat Ki Hoi, but revealed nothing about Bok Hong Liat. Observing the situation, I decided not to waste any more time here. I pulled out my phone and dialed Bok Hong Liat's number. This phone previously belonged to the eliminated stalker. When Bok Hong Liat answered, he immediately questioned why his subordinate was calling so late. I simply replied, "That person has gone to meet the King of Hell. No longer shall you hide, step forth." Bok Hong Liat. Soon after, Bok Hong Liat appeared on the beach, exuding pride, affirming that choosing me was indeed the right decision. Without hesitation, he invited me to join their Bat Ki Hoi, to forge a grand legacy together. Hearing this, I merely smiled gently, saying nothing. I did not hesitate to reveal the resurrection plan they were executing. Bok Hong Liat looked surprised and asked how I knew such things. Yet, I needed no lengthy explanations, for all these scoundrels must perish. So, prepare yourself for battle, Dark Emperor. Little did I expect that every attack from the Dark Emperor would be thwarted. The sudden turn of events left me reeling. It turned out that Bok Hong Liat had summoned his S-class substitute, Blood-Skinned Maiden, commanding her to fight while retreating, not to be headstrong. Unbelievably, his replacement was not only agile but could also keep pace with the Dark Emperor's speed. Furthermore, with a formidable defense, the attacks of the Black Emperor could not inflict any real damage on his opponent. Thus, I resolved to thwart the Dark Emperor. Once the subject is brought down, no matter how powerful the clone may be, it becomes meaningless. We must muster all our strength and resolve to end this battle as swiftly as possible. At this very moment, the Dark Emperor's strikes had significantly drained Kuya-Haya's energy. Bok Hong Liat decided to take a gamble. In that moment, both sides shared a singular objective, to swiftly conclude this battle. I watched as Bok Hong Liat commanded Kuya-Huyat to shift forms, preparing to obliterate the opponent's clone. Meanwhile, I activated the Master's Wish ability, rendering the subject unable to evade the Dark Emperor's next attack. In the blink of an eye, the blade of Blood-Skinned Maiden swept past the Dark Emperor. At this juncture, Bok Hong Liat felt a sense of foreboding, for even if Blood-Skinned Maiden struck the Dark Emperor, the Dark Emperor's punch would still land on him. With this thought, Bok Hong Liat decided to wager everything. He commanded Kuya-Huyat to eliminate the subject. After the Dark Emperor and Kuya-Huyat passed each other, the Dark Emperor's fist crashed down upon Bok Hong Liat's head. The overwhelming force sent him tumbling across the ground for 2.5 rolls. As Kuya-Huyat advanced toward me, Bok Hong Liat felt an overwhelming pain, unable to believe that a fist could strike with such force. Yet, I had vanished right before his eyes. Seeing this, Bok Hong Liat began to doubt his own existence. How could an ordinary person react so swiftly? Before he could collect his thoughts, my figure materialized right behind him. In the next moment, the attack of Hak Hoangda came crashing down. Though Bok Hong Liat's clone was formidable, the law of this world was clear: the strong survive, the weak perish. The vengeance of Kai from a past life. At last, I would personally repay. When the ability to seize talent was activated, I had claimed Bok Hong Liat's SG talent, Night Rain. And now, I possessed the SG clone of my opponent, Kuya-Huyat. With the unique abilities of Night Rain combined with Kuya-Huyat, both offensive and defensive capabilities surpassed those of the Black Emperor. Even the speed of the strikes was swifter. Thanks to an intelligence score of 30, I needed no control. It was nearly a perfect clone. Not only that, but Bok Hong Liat also brought forth a great surprise. It turned out that eliminating a target could yield items from the opponent. 2 fate dialing cards, combined with what I had gathered from previous dungeons, were just enough for 2 spins of 10 times each. However, due to the energy of Chu Nyan Ki Veen being excessively depleted, it could not be summoned at this moment. In my memories, there existed a rare item capable of restoring energy within the Holy Land's secret realm. Huyat Din Nu sensed this and asked me, "Do we need to go to the secret realm?" I replied, "Right now, there is a more important place waiting for us." Shortly thereafter, I found myself at a villa. The death of Bok Hong Liat would surely stir great waves within the Bat Ki society. While they sought the perpetrator, Van Du Tu was temporarily safe. At this moment, Kuya-Huyat suddenly approached and asked, "Is Van Du Tu the master's girlfriend?" Hearing this, my face flushed suddenly, and I awkwardly explained that this was not the time. Yet Kuya-Huyat understood everything. Van Du Tu was incredibly important to the master. Looking at my cherished older brother, along with Van Du Tu, I clenched my fists and exclaimed to Kuya-Huyat, "Indeed. Therefore, in this lifetime, I must strive to become stronger." not allowing the regrets of the past to repeat themselves. Next, it was time to awaken Chu Nyan Nguyen Yuok. Upon reaching the dungeon's entrance, I was stopped by security personnel, who warned that this secret realm was of extreme danger. A moment's carelessness could cost a life within. Thus, I pulled out my personal information card. Thankfully, the name of Hak Hoangda had long been widely publicized. The bulky guard immediately ceased to obstruct me, yet kindly reminded me not to harm myself while trying to protect the girl. Seeing that both of us did not look back, we stepped into the dungeon. The fat man could only sigh. A hero struggles to pass through the beauty's gate. Once inside the dungeon, Kuya Huyat began to unleash devastation, annihilating hundreds of hideous foes in mere minutes. While I leisurely sipped my drink, it was not merely my performance, it was she who led me into this battle. As Huyat Din Nu landed with flair, the enemies in the area were mercilessly swept away. I stood tall, took a deep breath, and declared the mission's requirement: simply protect the fairy clan's camp and thwart every invasion plot. I will obtain the divine crystal shard from the fairy clan. This artifact can restore energy to the avatar. But be cautious, previous players have discovered ways to defeat the fairies. They will wait until the hideous leader is attacked before striking. At that moment, the number of crystal shards will multiply. Therefore, we must await the golden opportunity. With a resounding explosion, the fairy clan's defensive wall was torn asunder. Now is the time. Kuya Huyat, we must act immediately. A horde of hideous monsters quickly gathered. The dungeon's leader, the hideous monster, had also made an appearance. Just as it roared, its arm was severed without mercy. For I had brought two others to this battle. The hideous monster leader howled in rage. Human, you seek your own death. Dare to obstruct my claim to this territory. I immediately drew forth a divine crystal shard. Awaken, Master Prayer, Master Prayer. I pray for the Black Emperor. The next attacks will be fatal. Only by destroying the hideous leader, with the prayer book deciphered, shall the great master's wishes become reality. As I gazed at the fist hurtling toward the Black Emperor, I commanded Kuya Huyat to shift into umbrella form immediately, to shield all attacks for the Black Emperor. Huyat Din Nu complied, instantly tossing away the umbrella in hand, allowing the hideous monster's punch to strike it. At the same moment, Huyat Din Nu and the Black Emperor charged toward their target. Under the fierce assault of the two SGTS, the health bar of the hideous leader dropped significantly, but he was obstructed by the massive starhammer, hindering the pace of the assault. Sensing an opening, the hideous leader swiftly began to gather energy. Before long, a terrifying technique named Destruction, Death Radiance, was unleashed. I screamed for Kuya Huyat to defend with all her might. In the blink of an eye, a torrent of colossal energy descended. Though Kuya Huyat and the Black Emperor exerted all their strength to block Destruction, Death Radiance, the energy depletion caused Huyat Din Nu's form to begin dissolving. Even the Black Emperor's energy was nearly exhausted. Thus, I crushed another divine crystal shard. The Black Emperor seized the moment as the grand technique was on cooldown, pouring all his strength into the attack. Under the fusion of thieving skills, the ugly leader was spectacularly defeated, and I was rewarded with a vast amount of experience. This also unlocked my third career skill, 10,000 Swords Rally. However, to my astonishment, the ground suddenly trembled, and a long tentacle shot out to attack me. A mysterious smile graced my lips, perfectly timed to test my new skill. Instantly, I swung my arm with great force, and thousands of swords soared into the sky like twinkling stars. In that fleeting moment, blinding light from the blades pierced through the tentacles, creating a breathtaking spectacle. With this power, I was no less than Tian Ka. The thrill was exhilarating. Yet, if I flaunted my power for too long, my energy would quickly dwindle. In my memories, when mages changed careers, they would possess two skills for recovery and mana absorption. I had to seize this opportunity from others. These incredible skills could not simply become a facade in this life and death struggle. Then, I moved towards the divine technique. I wanted to see how many crystal shards I could gather. I threw a sword, causing over 100 shards to fall into my hands like precious gems. This was equivalent to 5 ultra-adorable crystal shards. Such was the advantage of surpassing levels. The next time I returned, the quantity would be significantly less. So, next was the lucky draw from the Wheel of Fate. Appear, Prayer Master. The Prayer Master manifested, saying, "Great Master, I am delighted to serve you." After discussing some intriguing wishes, I spun the Wheel of Fate, wishing that the next 10 spins would definitely yield S-grade items. Furthermore, the S-grade items I received did not include life extension cards. As the Wheel of Fate spun wildly, This time I obtained 2 double S cooling crystals, capable of having the cooldown time of my abilities. With this thought, I crushed the crystal without hesitation. It was magnificent. From now on, I could seize 2 S-grade talents or higher in a single day. Meanwhile, the S-grade crystal could enhance intelligence by 10 points. Seeing this, the prayer master approached. My lord, I advise you to distribute this crystal to those who need it most. While the prayer master's intelligence soared to 180, Kuya Haya's intelligence was merely 30. Gazing at the pitiful intelligence of the Black Emperor, I suddenly found myself in a dilemma. Thus, I inquired of the prayer master how this attribute of intelligence was primarily manifested. The prayer master believed that intelligence was not merely about cleverness or wisdom, it was also reflected in the speed of problem solving. The higher the intelligence stat, the stronger the ability to learn knowledge and accumulate experience. These qualities would become evident in battle. Upon hearing this, a flicker of realization sparked within me. The Black Emperor was no longer an easy target to slay as before. Now, he had to rely on raw power to fight in a world filled with increasingly formidable monsters. Clearly, this crystal was what the Black Emperor needed most at this moment. With that thought, I tossed the crystal of wisdom into his hand. With a sound of clink, the Black Emperor's body suddenly transformed, his pupils shifting from purple to a blazing red. Master, thank you for your grace. The Black Emperor would sweep away all obstacles in his path. Now, his intellect had been elevated, and there was no longer a need for him to control the battles himself. With an increase in experience, his speed could not match the swiftness of his seizing. I had thrown 2 ultimate crystals to the master of the Marvelous Pavilion to elevate the energy limits and pinpoint the next target for talent acquisition in SG. The master of the Marvelous Pavilion responded with respect, as you command. Great master. At the same time, in some school, Yang, who had just awakened his A-rank talent, was suddenly knocked to the ground. Chu Du threatened him, warning that he should not overstep, or else there would be no chance for them to disturb each other in the future. Yang trembled as he stood up, his arms ablaze with fire, and the fighting spirit in his eyes radiated intense determination. In an instant, he swung his fist toward Chu Du. You all have slapped me in the face, and even urinated on my head. Is that not excessive? Unexpectedly, a tentacle, swift as lightning, wrapped tightly around his fist. It turned out that Chu Du found the form of this replacement too grotesque. So he always concealed his true power. Yang could not move, left only with the option to let out a roar of fury. For among thousands, a talent like his in SG was indeed rare. It was heartbreaking to see such talent fall prey to a bully. This image quickly flashed through my mind, aided by the master of the Marvelous Pavilion. Good. The next target for acquisition has been identified. At this moment, Chu Du lightly slapped Yang's cheek, questioning why he was not mad with rage. A younger brother beside him nodded in agreement. An A-rank talent is just a little thing. Compared to Brother Chu, it is still far from enough. Chu Du snorted, ordering that this one be turned into food for the green monster. Upon seeing the tentacle tightening around Yang, a voice from behind interrupted Chu Du's actions. A teacher stepped forward, demanding that he stop exploiting his powerful talent to bully other students. Yang recognized the person as Ms. Tran from the school, although the 2 younger students beside him felt a sense of fear before the teacher. Chu Du told them not to panic. Moreover, he directed the tentacle straight at Ms. Tran, for her talent had been revealed. Yang was resolutely determined to follow this path to the end. In an instant, Ms. Tran's body was ensnared, unable to move. It turns out that Ms. Tran had long ago become the secret object of affection for all the boys. Chu Du was no exception. As the tentacles wrapped around Ms. Tran's thighs, she found herself in an exceedingly embarrassed position. Suspended in midair, Yang angrily shouted that she was nothing but a tentacle. Yet the response he received was to let him satisfy himself first before cleaning up. However, a flash of light sliced through the air, and the tentacles of the green monster were instantly shattered into pieces. Ms. Tran suddenly freed herself from captivity. Before Chu Du could react, a shadow darted past, and his 2 younger brothers were obliterated before his very eyes. Sensing the palpable danger lurking nearby, Chu Du screamed, "Don't pretend to be divine over there," just as he finished his sentence. A foot suddenly appeared within his line of sight. Chu Du suddenly realized that standing beside him was Zhan Hoi, an S-rank talent, prompting him to question my identity. In his mind, no one else in the SG awakening field could compare to him. My response was simply, "Forget who I am. I wish to remain unscathed for the next 30 seconds. The Master of Wishes spread his arms wide. Master, your wish has been granted. The newcomer paid him no heed. Chu-do continued to press me about my identity. Yet my answer was, forget who I am. I give you 3 seconds to think. Enraged, he immediately commanded the green monster to attack. Who has never faced the SG replacement? I merely smile lightly like the wind. Black Emperor, crush him. Instantly, the Black Emperor appeared before me. The emergence of 3 S-rank replacements left Chu-do stunned. His mouth agape. Over here, the Black Emperor's attack remained simple. Yet a surprise unfolded. Suddenly, the tentacles of the green monster tightly coiled around the Black Emperor's arm. Almost immediately, the Black Emperor's limbs were bound tightly, rendering him immobile. Chu-do, having gained the upper hand, mocked the usefulness of having many replacements. He then commanded the green monster to devour the Black Emperor. Hearing this, I coldly laughed and said to Zan Hoi, let's go. In the blink of an eye, a chilling light flashed by. The skill, Blade Dance of the Night, instantly severed the tentacles controlling the Black Emperor. Subsequent strikes chopped these tentacles into tiny fragments. Seeing the tentacle remnants fall at his feet, Chu-do was struck with panic and collapsed to the ground. He justifies himself, claiming he only wished to protect his teammates from Yang Yang's bullying. Confronted with such baseless accusations, Yang Yang immediately stood up to clarify. Fortunately, I held the truth firmly in my grasp. For scoundrels like him, wielding power to commit wrongs, it is far better for them to perish by my hand right now. Sensing the threat to his life, it was surprising that Yang Yang shamelessly called for Miss Tran. Yet, Miss Tran's eyes widened in astonishment. For at that moment, Suyen Hui's attack was unleashed, and the primary target was the pleading Yang Yang. With Yang Yang's collapse, Ms. Tran's scream echoed like thunder throughout the school. I slowly approached her, saying, a strong one who even the teachers cannot spare. So taking down 2 more is hardly excessive. When the stealing skill activated, I successfully acquired my 4th S-class talent. Yet the sensation this talent bestowed upon me was truly unique. At that moment, Yang Yang came closer, sincerely thanking me for what had just happened and asking for my name. Without hesitation, I uttered the 3 words, Black Emperor, then turned stylishly to enjoy the feast. As my figure faded into the distance, stars sparkled in Yang Yang's eyes, vowing that one day, he too would become a king like the Black Emperor. Arriving at the restaurant, I continued pondering the marvel of this talent, named Perfect Fusion, capable of extracting the essence from any 2 existences, retaining their unique properties and merging them together. However, with this information being too vague, the 5-day refresh time was not suitable for immediate experimentation. Thus, I summoned the Green Beast, only to discover that not only its appearance but also its abilities had been upgraded. I could distinctly feel the touch of these dozens of arms. With the attributes now unlocked, I finally understood why the Black Emperor had nearly faced trouble. It turned out that the Green Beast's elastic skin ability granted a 50% damage reduction against magical attacks, while increasing vulnerability to sharp attacks by 20%. No wonder the Black Emperor's strikes were ineffective, while Zan Hoi easily took him down. Then, I stretched my arms and called out, everyone, come out, let's enjoy some fried chicken. In an instant, 3 replacements appeared simultaneously. Great Master, ordering fried chicken is indeed a wise decision. I then pulled out my phone to place the order. Chicken cakes, thigh burger, cod burger, and cola, 300 portions of each. Before I could even take a breath, the staff announced that the store currently did not have enough stock. Seeing my calm demeanor, I instructed the staff to bring whatever they had. In my memory, in half a year, global supplies would become scarce. Fortunately, the space crystal had excellent food preservation capabilities. Thus, I must prepare meticulously. Suddenly, Huyen Hoi pointed out the window. Master, look, the fog outside seems to be thickening. Hearing this, I abruptly remembered something and hurriedly checked my phone. This moment marked the onset of the first catastrophe. A woman burst into the restaurant, clutching a child, pleading for help for her son. Unexpectedly, in the next instant, something yanked at her clothes. It turned out to be a colossal monster spider. Seeing the woman on the verge of becoming the beast's prey, I felt a powerful force tearing at her clothes. For at that moment, I was protecting her and her child. Faced with the monster before me, I couldn't help but smile. After all, these creatures presented a golden opportunity for those who had awakened, offering 4 times the experience. Immediately, I summoned the Wish Master. Wish Master, I wish to dispel all the fog within a 10-meter radius. Next, a beam of light pierced through the entire battlefield. The monstrous spiders, now stripped of their foggy cover, stood plainly before my eyes. Now I could confidently unleash my storm swordsman skill without any hindrance. In the blink of an eye, a cold ray shot forth, and the monster spider was instantly cleaved in two. A notification flashed on the display. Congratulations, player. You have slain a level 7 long-legged spider, earning 640 experience points and a 400% disaster reward. Although I felt no additional thrill after the kill, it was undeniable that the quadrupled experience was truly enticing. Two colossal insects were barreling toward me. I smiled slightly. Black Emperor, Huyin Hoi, take action. Let's level up, instantly. Huyin Hoi slashed one of the giant insects in half, while Black Emperor swiftly dealt with the other. At that same moment, a great disaster swept away the entire city. The men in the building acknowledged that these monsters were somewhat fierce, yet within their hearts, they felt no fear. Wu Tai Qiet reassured them that this disaster was a